Have you ever had a moment when you just knew something or someone but couldn't explain why? Or felt an unexplained fear, longing, or gift that didn't quite make sense in this lifetime? In this episode, we're going there. We have our soul sister and powerful Seeking Center guide, Lizzi Cutler, back to explore the fascinating and transformative world of past life quantum healing, PLQH for short. If you've listened before, you've heard us dip into this topic. But Lizzie's had so many aha moments and mind-blowing stories since our last conversation that we had to bring her back to specifically talk about it. She will help you understand how tapping into our past lives can truly heal our present and illuminate our purpose. From fears that vanish overnight to health shifts, relationship clarity, and even cosmic downloads, PLQH is not just a spiritual tool. It's a soul-level healing experience. If you're new to this practice, don't worry. We're breaking it all down. Let's dive in. Hi, Lizzie.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me back.
I am so psyched to get into this because you and I have these conversations offline all the time because you cannot believe what comes through. I can't believe what comes through even when I've done this with you.
Yeah. Even more has come through since we've talked, so I'm excited to tell you too.
Yeah, I can't wait either. Let's talk about what past life quantum healing is.
So I trained in the Dolores Cannon method. Dolores Cannon was like one of the grandmothers of this work. And so I use her style of getting you into the session. And the reason that I call it something different is because, as you've coined this term, I've Lizified it to work with the energy work that I do and the messages that I get from guides and downloads and stuff like that while a client is in the session, which was not part of Dolores's method. So I use her genius and then add sort of my sauce to it to create this new way of working. And the reason that I call it past life quantum healing is because what I've seen in a lot of sessions is that I've had clients move to the future and see future lifetimes that were wild. I've had other beings come in. Robin, you experienced this, where beings from other planets come in. And I've had people experience things in this current lifetime, just like in their childhood, seeing it from different ways. So I call it quantum because it's really like past, present, future, other beings, like it's all the things. So we can't just call it past life. It's beyond that. And so that's my spin on this amazing way of working.
And I just want to add also the healing aspect of it.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
So the healing aspect of it is that you actually, which is again, what makes it different from a past life experience.
Yes. So years ago, when I was first starting to dip my toe into the spiritual world, I went to a past life regression therapist where I laid in one of those, basically like a lawn chair, but those zero gravity chairs. And I saw a few past lives and then got in my car and left. And that was the session. And what I'm doing in sessions, which I learned through practicing on people like Robin and Karen and friends that I knew I could work with, was in a session when I would see a point or a moment of physical or emotional trauma, I would ask, am I allowed to work on this? As an energy healer worker, I could also, in my other line of sessions, when I do an energy alignment, I can see where someone has stuck energy, and then I'm shown the emotional connection to it, and most importantly, how to remove it. So I would be in these past life quantum healing sessions and see this trauma. And it was like when you're with a friend and you're like, she has lipstick on her teeth and she's about to go on camera. Do I tell her? Do I not? We all want to know, right? Mm-hmm. So I'd be in a session, I'd be like, okay, there's this thing there that I would love to clear for her, but I don't know if I'm allowed because that's not the Dolores Cannon way. And I would just ask, while you're here, am I allowed to help clear this trauma? And then the client would give me a yes or a no. And then I would say, okay, what I'm being shown to do is they want me to reach in your chest and pull that wound out and pull the scar tissue out and then bring white light in and smear it all over the joint and the pain will go away. Is that accurate? Yes. Okay, I'm doing that now. Is it cleared? Yes. Is there anything else you want me to do? No. And then we move on. So it's like I get these little highlighted moments or like bracketed moments of, okay, now go in and go to work. And then I jump back out and then we're back in a normal past life session.
You're packing a lot in there.
I pack a lot in.
You do.
Yeah. I know that when I was first learning about this work, I was intimidated by doing a session because my first thought was, what if nothing comes through? And I just spent this money and now like nothing happens. And to 100% of my clients, I say before we start the session, listen, if nothing comes through, I have other ways of working on you. So don't worry about it. And that's never happened. So even if you feel like you're making it up, tell me what you're seeing so I can help guide you. I'm helping you navigate down this like canal.
And you can be any sort of seeker, right? Like you can be a beginner seeker as long as you trust you,
That's a great question.
right?
Yes, I've worked with people who've never done any other spiritual work before. They've never seen an intuitive, they've never done energy work, they've never done anything like this before. They've maybe done therapy, so they know that there's like stuff they want to work through, but they've never dipped their toe in the woo, let's say. And with the beginner seekers, the sessions are equally as impactful as the, let's call it like more experienced, because the work just works. Like this is Dolores Cannon's method of getting you in to this place of your brain where you can access all the subconscious, all the past stuff. It's like we're going, remember in the old school libraries when we had the Dewey Decimal System and the card catalog thing, going through the files to see
Yes.
what is still impacting you in a negative way now and clean it up.
Yeah.
So the beginner seeker, sometimes I feel like it's a cool place to start because there's no pressure around getting it right.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
can just let go and just come in curious with your list of questions, it'll work.
Well, and I think that's part of it too, is that you are helping, they are coming in prepped in terms of at least setting the intention of what they want to learn about. So that sets things up.
Yeah. Let me actually explain that for anyone
Yeah.
listening. When you book a session in your confirmation email, I give you a list of questions to start putting together. And I tell you, like, sure, journal about it, but just keep a list running in your phone. So you might be at the grocery store and be like, I wonder why my hip clicks when I'm walking after 45 minutes. Add it to the list. And I tell you, create a list broken down in like the physical, the emotional, and the spiritual questions that you have about your life. And that could be, why does my mom trigger me so hard? I feel like I'm stuck financially and I can't get over X number. Why am I stuck here? What's my next career move? What is it that my daughter needs from me in order to feel safe and secure? What can I do to improve my relationship with my spouse? And then the spiritual things of what's my soul's purpose here? I feel like I'm not meeting my potential. What am I missing? So we really break down like physical triggers of like, why does my back hurt? Why do my teeth feel weird when I eat metal? Like anything that you can think of, right? I have this weird thing where like when a fork touches metal, I can't put it in my mouth again. Like, why that? We can ask all of those questions. The weirdest things you can come up with, we will ask. And the way that the sessions, so you're curating that list from the moment you book until we jump in. And our session starts with us going through that list together. So like I'm sitting on my couch, you're sitting on your couch, we're on Zoom, you're in your comfies, and we go through the list so that I'm really clear on exactly what it is that you're asking. So I'm taking notes, I'm asking details. What's your daughter's name? How old is she? What's the relationship like? Like we're getting into it. And then it takes 10 minutes to put you into this really light state of hypnosis where 100% of my clients know that they're laying on the couch on Zoom doing this past life session. They've gotten up and answered doorbells. They've gone to the bathroom. Karen let her dog in because her dog was needing something. So you're present to it. We take 10 minutes to do that. Then we see 3 or 4 lifetimes. And I'm asking questions. The client is answering, telling me what they're seeing and experiencing. And Robin, you can speak to this, but usually what people see when I say that you're seeing a past life, if I said to you, picture your second grade classroom, picture where your desk was, what kind of clothes were you wearing? What did it look like when you played on the playground? Like, that's the part of your brain that we're diving into. We go through 3 or 4 of those lifetimes, and then we release as much as we can release in those lifetimes. We're always seeing them for a reason. 9.5 times out of 10, the lifetimes you're seeing are already connected to the questions we just read through. And then this actually came up with a friend of yours, Robin, that you referred to me. Then we either call in your subconscious or your soul. And I was told to ask the difference because the subconscious, I was told, is the layer between the 3D thinking, present day, don't forget to get bread at the grocery store self and the soul self. So that higher, watching all, experiencing all, connected to source self, there's a layer in between. that they called the subconscious self. So then I'll say, can I speak to Robin's subconscious? Crickets, no answer. Can I speak to Robin's soul? Yes. And for some people, their voice changes. Like for Karen, her voice changed when her soul came through. It was wild. And then I go through your list of questions.
Yeah.
And because I've just spoken to you and had this whole conversation with you, as the answers are coming in, I'm asking follow-ups. As I know, I would want to know if I were you laying on your couch. That's what a session looks like. So we're really getting into, and I love therapy, and I'm not saying this is anti-therapy, but it's like therapy, like 5 years of it packed into 3 hours.
Yeah. And I have so much to add right now. Okay.
That was a really long time for me to talk.
No, I'm so glad.
It's hard to imagine, I think.
And you've laid out the framework for people. And now I just want to fill in a little bit, right? So you said it's 3 hours. I want people to understand, like, this is a good chunk of time because you're getting deep. And it really is a combination of, some people who are listening or watching may have heard of something called the Life Between Lives session, which I think was started by Michael Newton, who wrote Journey of Souls. And there's others that are similar, and they may call it slightly something different. But you're talking about both past life as well as, in quotes, life between lives, because you're talking about seeing these past lives as well as talking to your either subconscious or soul or all of them.
Yeah.
So I just want to make that clear. Plus, you have the healing. So this is like when we talk about the kind of impact this can have on you.
Yeah.
It is profound. And I wanted to also point out, just because we've been at Seeking Center diving deep on dreams lately. And when we talked to Sansan Fabry, who started an app called Wakefully, and when we talked about dreams, it is your subconscious coming through to you at night. And some of us can remember it, some of us can't, although you can get better at that. And she's really helpful with that. And so I want to just bring that up to you when you just talked about that subconscious. So many of us can't access it as easily. For some people, if that's something that they need to hear, you're able to do that. But then for me, I know the past lives that I was shown, those past lives are very relevant to this life, which you said. And they also answer so many of your questions. And that conversation with your soul is priceless. And then you're recording all of it so that you can then go back to that at any time. And it really is something that can change your life. It really can give you so many of the answers that you need. And by the way, your soul will also not give you some answers on purpose. Sometimes you don't get the full picture because that's the point of the journey.
Oh, I've been flat out told we won't tell you that right now.
Thank you.
I asked, I don't think she would mind this, but I was doing a session with Lisa Nitskin. I was guiding Lisa. And in the soul questions, I asked, can you explain to us how we leap? How do we move timelines? And Lisa was in her soul part. And her soul said to us, you guys don't get to know that yet. Our hand was slapped out of the cookie jar.
That's the point. My point is that, like, sometimes you're given the information, like you're led to you for a reason, and trust that, because you are supposed to get it's getting feedback from your soul on how you're doing and why you're here and all the things.
I can hear some listeners thinking or feeling, I don't want to hear it from me. I want to hear someone else tell me. And I've had clients say that, and I just want to address this.
Yes, thank you.
First off, ditto. Like, it feels, if someone else tells me, then I'll trust it. And in 100% of these sessions, I ask, even if it's not on the client's list, I ask, what's your soul's purpose here? I'm like, why am I here? And 100% of the time, the answer of everybody else's souls and different beings that I've asked this to is to experience joy. 100% of the time, to find your way back to love. And the reason that and I get this, and to all of you that are questioning and don't necessarily resonate with this, I am, you are me. The reason that it feels so uncomfortable is because our journey here is about getting back to self-love. And that feels trivial to most of us.
That's
right? Is it going to get me the partner that I want? Is it going to get me the money that I think I want to go on the vacations that I want? Is it going to get me to the thing that I think that I want? But that was just something that you were taught to strive for and crave in this human zip-up suit in our culture. The reality is, once we find our way, and I've touched it a few times, and I know you have too, Robin. For me, once I touched that feeling of complete self-love, and I was only able to hold it for a few moments, and when I meditate, this is what I'm going to. Everything else disappears. Nothing else matters. It is the most magnificent thing I've ever felt. And Robin is nodding her head.
I
Yes.
am, and Lizzie and I have talked about this. I have felt that as well and didn't want to come back.
So you guys, Robin was my practice session. When I first finished this training, I called her and I said, can I practice on you? I actually went to your house because I wanted us to be in person. Robin's first lifetime was this like really cool Egyptian lifetime. I was like, cool, I can handle this. And before Robin went in, because when I was pulling like on your street, I heard she might not be human. Tell her she might not be human. And so when we were going in, I was like, Rob, if you end up seeing like a spirit or a being or something else, let's just go with it. And I was nervous. I was scared because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if it would work. And I know Robin is really powerful and connected. And so I was like, I don't know what is going to come up with this girl's session. And her second lifetime, Robin, you literally were like, oh my God, I'm home. Oh, it's all purple. I'm floating. It's pure unconditional love. Oh, and we should actually find that clip because it was so content and peaceful and unconditional and just home. And you said out loud, I don't want to come back. And in my mind, I was like, fuck, did I just break Robin? She needs to come back. Bella needs you. Jeff needs you. Get your ass back here. And
true. And I go to that every day now. I think that's what I'm so glad you're bringing that up because in relation to what you said about you are doing this rather than someone else telling you, I've had it done the other way. I've had different past life experiences where I've had someone else do it and tell me what they're seeing. It's just not as impactful. I can tell you, yes, it feels like it's more, in quotes, work. You are the one who is in this meditative state seeing these things, but it stays with you forever, like forever. And you're shown what you need to be shown. And by the way, when you are shown things from past lives where, let's say you were in a war or you see yourself dying, it does not hurt. You look at yourself in those situations with such love and you're not meant to feel pain. It really is like a lesson. It's like looking, as you said, in that file, it's like your book.
I'm so glad you brought that up because there are people who say to me, I'm afraid to see myself dying. And what I've said is, I would be too, but in 100% of these sessions that I've done, the person isn't like the person that I'm guiding through the session isn't experiencing the pain that they're watching. So you might, and I did have someone who actually watched her husband in this lifetime. He was in that past life with her in a different body, but she knew it was him. And he was being killed in a war, like on a battlefield. And she went over as his like friend and he died in this person's arms. And she wasn't crying. She wasn't upset. She was like, it's actually really beautiful. I'm watching this like connection that we have. I know he's going to be okay. And there's also a moment of someone watching themselves die that they can see that their soul has already left.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, which really brought me a lot of peace as my grandma's 95 and we know we have years, right? Like she's not long for this earth. And I was saying to my mom, who's really connected to her, in all these things that I've seen, I don't think that grandma's going to experience pain as she's going. Like her soul will leave before her body is really breaking down. It might pop back in and have one more lucid moment as she's going or whatever it is. We hear cool stories about that, but it made me feel so much better. Like the fear of drowning or the fear of whatever the fear is.
All the time, actually. We do. We talk about
that as long as my soul is out and I'm not experiencing it, fine.
Correct. And
so many people have such peace.
Yes, I think actually what these sessions can do is take away the fear of dying.
Completely.
Which you and I know of different modalities that can help with that. But when you actually see it, I personally am not scared of it.
Yeah. And I think it's actually cleared a lot of fears because most of us fear ourselves dying and our people closest to us dying.
You're right.
And so by seeing 4 lifetimes And at the end of each lifetime that we see, I ask, what's the purpose or the lesson of this lifetime that I just watched? When you see that each lesson has a purpose and a lifetime, and it's as clear as day, right? Like you'll give me one or two sentences of, oh, I was meant to see that just having a basic normal life was actually one of my best ever. Or this was a lifetime where I made it really hard on purpose and I cleared so much. I got through so many lessons in that lifetime. It was actually awesome to get through that much. We don't have the same attachment in that realm that we do in this 3D self. This is something that we learned in the 3D. And so by clearing it, I now have this detachment from it needs to be this or I'm screwed and it's going to hurt.
It's so true. And going back to that one where I was actually on a star, I was part of the Palladian star system. So I guess you could call me a star seed, which I didn't really understand until I experienced it and now have really done some research and so forth.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I could see myself and I can feel what that felt like to have unconditional love so that I can bring it into my everyday and spread that as much as I can. And listen, I can hang on to that for as long as I can in my daily life, but then I'm also living this 3D life, doing the daily things as a human. But that knowing it makes a difference. It really does.
The thing that I think is so critical and cool is that in the questions, again, then I ask this for everybody at the end of their session. I say, what are the daily practices you want this person to be doing in order to connect to you every single day, to live their very best possible life? And they'll say, I'm making this up, but they'll say meditate. And I'll say, for how long? 10 minutes. Is that 10 minutes in the morning? 10 minutes? When? 10 minutes in the afternoon at 3 p.m. Okay. And what type of meditation do you want them to do? I am the tangible, actionable.
Actually, everything that you asked, which I was not on my list.
Yeah.
I do every day.
Yeah. Wasn't it for you that like when you wake up, put your feet on the floor before you get out of bed and connect?
Yes. And I do.
So you guys, it's literally because we might be doing, it's like love languages, right? Like you might be meditating for 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes at night, and they might say to you, skip the night one. You're not getting anything out of it. Let it go. Or you might be exercising in a way that's not actually serving you. So I have a lot of people that will come and say, what's the best physical activity that I can do in order to stay connected and feel spiritually connected to you and take care of my body? And they'll say, stop doing X, Y, and Z and start doing this. You only have to do it 3 times a week. And this is where I want you to go. So we get super specific answers where people will say, my hip hurts. I keep thinking of that because my left hip hurts. They'll come in and say, my hip has been hurting for all this time. What's going on and how do I fix it? And they'll give you really specific answers.
Yeah, they will. And I just want to also address one more time, the beginner seeker. You may think that you're not going to see anything. This has come up before to people that I know. They'll say, I think when I close my eyes, I just see black. I don't see anything. And I really want, and then when they start to see things, you've said this, they think they're making things up.
Totally.
And what I think Lizzi and I really want to emphasize is even if you think you're making it up, it's actually coming from a place. There's a reason that you're seeing specific images.
So I actually did a session with a woman who's a very prominent therapist. And at the end of her session, when she sat up and we were talking it through and going over what happened, she said, it's so wild, Lizzi. I knew that I was talking to you and I have no idea where those words were coming from. I don't know where in the brain that's processing. Again, like this isn't someone who's in this world with Robin and I. I'm putting this in air quotes. This is a normal person. And that's the sensation that most people experience. And I had a client who went through a lifetime where we healed back pain that has been with her for over 10 years. She saw stuff about how to strengthen her relationship with her son and her husband. And she cleared this trauma that she had with her father. And then we actually saw a future lifetime.
Wow.
Like way in the future, she was actually flying around a library, collecting information and healing cancers.
Oh my God.
Guys, it was wild. She also had one from her present lifetime where we were at her childhood summer camp and we did all this energy work there because that was like her safe, happy place. And then we had a whole session with her soul and she comes out of the session and she goes, Lizzi, I hated that. And I was like, tell me why. I was talking. I wanted you to tell me what it was. And I said, I so deeply understand that. And you need to learn to trust you.
Yeah.
I'm not your guru.
Yeah.
I'm not your God. You are. And this is about you finding your way back to trusting you. So, for those who are beginner seekers who feel like I'm not going to believe what I'm saying, I hear you. Give me a chance. Because at the end of this, it's hard to question it.
Yeah.
Because where would that have come from? And how could you have created all those stories that happen to tie in to the questions that you were asking with that level of detail?
It's so true. And it's really to show you how powerful you actually are. And the only person that can really help heal you is you.
Yeah.
You're a facilitator, Lizzie. You're one of the best facilitators I know. But you're facilitating. Like they need to heal.
Actually, I cringe and I strongly dislike when I don't know how else to say it, but even when someone says, "Are you an energy healer?" Yes, in that I'm moving your energy around, but you have to be the one doing it.
You do.
Yeah. And I don't want to be a healer. I had someone who called me and said, "You saved my life," which was so nice. And it was from such a genuine, generous place. And my response was, you can't say, I don't want that. I showed you how to save your life. Sure. And you were open to it and you took the ball and ran with it and helped let me guide you. But I am absolutely not saving anybody's lives here who's not saving their own life.
I totally agree. And that's why you have to be willing to do the work.
You just have to be willing to show up.
I love that. You have to be willing to show up.
Yeah. Because I think for me, when I think I need to be willing to do the work, I go into like my type A hustle mode of I have to do more. I'm not doing enough. I'm not fixing it. I'm not doing it right. This is my new favorite thing is that the majority of people that I work with, I call us type A empaths because you know how to hustle. You know that you have a huge potential that you want to meet here. You love a good beginning, middle, end of your journey. You want to sink your teeth into something and you're a leader. You want to crush it. And you happen to feel everybody else's energy. You happen to have this really incredible, wild connection to, I know that you're sad today. I don't know why you're not saying that you're admitting that you're sad, because then we can talk about why you're sad and get past being sad. So you're both of those things, which is a hard place to be in this culture. So when a type A empath shows up to do this work, I think it's really important to just be willing to know that you're jumping into the water with a life jacket on. You're not going to have to sink and it's not going to be that hard to stay afloat, but you got to jump in.
Yes. So I want to hear some of the stories.
Okay. So my most recent, this was a client who it was actually her second time doing this. We worked together one-on-one a lot and she hasn't gone into a session in well over a year. And the first time that she went in, she saw like two normal past lives. One, she was a Native American. One, she was, I think, a businessman, like pre-depression. And the third one that came in was a being from another planet. And we didn't get a name and we didn't get a name of the planet, but they were guiding us on all this information. They were telling us that like what we call autism on this planet are actually a lot of star seeds that are here from other planets. They don't want to be completely human because it's gnarly and sticky and ugly and messy. And so they still have 1 foot in that home planet and 1 foot here, which is why they don't need to be verbal, because it's such a low vibration way compared to where they are, where they don't need words to communicate. And they don't feel that this is a detriment to the human experience the way we think that someone who's nonverbal, and we see them as struggling, but they don't feel like they're struggling. So that was wild from this being.
And by the way, with the telepathy tapes and all of that, it just,
right. When that came out, I was like, yeah, heard that.
That's pretty unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she came in with that a while ago. And as she was coming out of that session and that being was leaving, I said, can we call you back in if Liz chooses, her name is Liz, if Liz chooses to go in another time. And by the way, I was like, can I share these clips with people? And she was like, post the whole thing on YouTube. This is what it's here for. She's very generous about this. So I'm not breaching anything by telling you her name. So this next time we go in, I said, Liz, if this being comes back, which I'm hoping it does, are you cool with me asking a few of my own questions once I've gotten through your list? She was like, absolutely, of course. And the being immediately came in. It was like, there were no other lifetimes that we saw. It was immediately here. At the end of the session, it gave us that its name is, the best that we can call it is Simone. So I'm going to refer to this being as Simone, which was lovely.
I love that name.
From the planet/star Arcturus, which I had never heard of, but
Yes.
is apparently a thing.
Yes, it is.
And the being is here to help us understand how we're moving forward into this next level of consciousness ascending, the embodiment thing happening. And again, for those of you who are beginners to the spiritual world, this isn't the first alien being that I've experienced. So I wasn't freaking out with Robin at my first session. Like that kind of broke the seal for me. And other beings have come through. And I've heard this many times from my guides, from people like Bashar has been saying, other people that I revere as having their shit together in this world have been saying stuff like this. So I received info like it in plant medicine and ayahuasca ceremonies and stuff like that. So this wasn't my first time hearing it. And so I was going deep. And if you're just listening to this for the first time, I know this sounds wild.
Meaningful.
Yes. So they were saying that there are beings here that were sent here from other stars in order to, when it's time, wake up, have this awakening moment, like a light switch gets turned on, and you start emanating this higher vibration of love in order to raise the consciousness of humans. And as I understand it, because there's going to be something that they called New Earth versus Old Earth. Old Earth will stay as it is with the main, they called it the virus of fear that infected us when tens of thousands of years ago, there were humans here, which also people are starting to understand and find details of, but not talking about it. And so thousands and thousands of years ago, there were beings here that were already on that higher vibration of love, and we were infected with fear. And then that journey for the past thousands of years has taken over. And we're now starting this evolutionary process of trying to be able to raise our vibration without having to wipe humanity out and completely start over. So I've been told this many times that this human thing is an experiment that they've done. And there were other iterations where they just had to press reset. And what we know of those now is like the Lemurians and the Atlanteans. So Atlantis. And they had to just press reset and start over because it got so
Out of whack. Yeah.
So they're trying to do it now without having to start over. And so these star seeds are here to help us move into love, to help us feel it. So people like Robin, this client Liz, are waking up and being able to live in it now. And just by you being in it, it's automatically like osmosis, impacting other people through the ripple effect. And there was so much in here. And I've been posting clips on Instagram, and I know those of you that are ready for it, go to my Instagram and watch them, because there's a lot of information that I can't get it all in right now. But they were telling me that, like, I even asked, is there a reason that I don't have a husband and children in this lifetime, in this iteration for me? And they said, yes, you would have been way too distracted. You are a healer or something, like they used a word that I wouldn't have used, but you are, let's call it healer. You are a soul healer, and having a child or a partner, you would have been more worried about their needs than doing this. And there are those of us who are essential beings and like moving this thing forward. And that place that we're going, Old Earth will look like it does now, and New Earth will look like, instead of living on a spectrum, think 0 to 10 of contentment. And when we're having like a horrific day, we're at a 1. That instead of being in total duality, where either we only know pleasure because we've known pain, that we're going to start shifting, and the scale is going to move up, where it's like we're only going to be living from a 6 to a 10. So a 6 will be considered a bad day, but will still be, like most of us, a 6 is a great day on an average Wednesday. And that will be considered our hardest moments. And that we will be much more communal and much more in alignment with each other in a way that it feels like, I don't need to make more money in order to afford this. What I need will be provided. And I won't feel like I need to hoard in order to feel safe. I will just feel safe. And I'm trying to make it as accessible as possible, because most of us can't imagine that yet. And so for those of us listening, I just want you to stop for a minute and think how much of your day is spent being distracted with things that you think will make you happy in having them. Right? We hustle at work because we think, if I make an extra 100 grand, if I make an extra 500 grand, if I have a second house, then I'll feel better. Then I'll know that I have enough so that I'm safe. If I find the right partner, then I'll feel safe because I won't have to do everything alone. If my business hits this next tier, then I'll feel safe because I won't be worried it's going to be taken away. And if that fear is gone, how much of your life is freed up to actually enjoy that sip of coffee in the morning or hearing your kids laugh together.
I have several mantras that I live by, and the two most prominent are love over fear and faith over fear. And to me, it is that love over fear
Yeah.
that we have been so programmed. There's a couple of things I want to say because I think it's so interesting that this being came through and that this is the information that you were able to receive from this being. Because when you then compare it to Eckhart Tolle, his book, A New Earth, that came out back in 2007, right? Somewhere around there. And using that term, a new earth, right?
Yeah.
Helping teach us about presence and so forth. You then have Lee Harris, who
Yeah.
channels disease. And in one of his books, Conversation with Disease, I can't remember, he has part one and part two. He talks about how in 2050, we are going to be operating on that frequency of love. So that's not that far away, right? But to your
Yeah.
point of,
Yeah.
and then you and I have both read Hypnotist
Yeah.
Journey to Atlantis, A Hypnotist Journey to the Pyramids, and then she has a couple of other books, all which really using some sort of past life regression, more of that Dolores Cannon method, she's been able to gather from different people what happened, right? But
Yeah.
to the point, how what this being was saying in that there was this planet, there were humans infected by, let's say, infected by fear, and that the goal is to get to this frequency of love. So to me, you have all these other things coming from different people, and then here you are working on a client and having
Yeah.
it come through. It's such validation.
Also in there, we were asking about because this client recently lost her parents and we were getting information about her parents,
Wow.
and like where they are now and that they're okay and that confirmation and what her next chapter looks like and just so much information on how we can move forward. Okay, so Liz is a star seed. And I was asking, like, how are other star seeds going to know that they're a star seed? Is there anything that they need to clear in order to make sure that they're getting the information that you want? I was asking, I was like, I feel like my work, it doesn't feel as impactful lately. It doesn't feel as deep, even though the sessions are great. I don't feel as connected anymore. And I was asking why. And they were saying, right now, your voice feels diminished, which it does. It feels like I post these things on Instagram and on social media, and it's just like off into this like black hole. And I'm getting all this information. And Robin, you're so generous at letting me share this with your community, but it just feels like it's also slow to me. And they said, we need you to be patient, which I get told this all the time. And
As do I, by the way. I think it's just one of our lessons in this lifetime, but yes.
100%. And basically, what they were telling me was, you're not doing anything wrong. The time is coming. Help those that want to be helped, help those that show up, continue doing what you're doing, and know that it is coming. This information isn't accessible to everybody. They said, not everybody can hear you right now, but we need you to keep saying it and keep sharing it because those that can hear you do. And it's giving them a great sense of comfort and validation. And so just keep going and doing it. And to me, like that client session healed me and gave me restored faith and help in knowing I'm not just spinning my wheels here. So it gave me kind of that freedom of, okay, I'm letting go of needing to find clients on social or needing to market in this certain way that feels so inauthentic to me. It makes me cringe. So now what I'm posting is this shit that I know that my client can hear. That type A empath who's like, why does this feel so sticky? Why am I still stuck? How do I move forward? That person is going to hear it and I can trust that. And that's to me what these sessions are great for. Because your physical and emotional discomfort is coming up because your guides and your soul are trying to tell you something 100% of the time. The MRI showed that something was wrong in my back, physically wrong. And there was still an emotional component that I had to deal with in order for the pain to go away. And that's what this work is. And that's why I think seeing the past, getting confirmation on the present, and then getting clear about the future, that to me, it's why I call it quantum.
Absolutely. And to your point about some of the past, they are these pieces that help you understand where you are, why you are, all the things.
Major.
And I know from my own life, but also from others that I've actually helped witness with you and knowing them. And it explains so much.
Yeah.
And having some of that information, it gives you some clarity on the journey.
It feels like you're getting freedom from the overthinking, right?
Yeah.
Once you get an answer to that thing that you're always trying to figure out, it's like now you can suddenly let go. And so when the thought, like a lot of what we'll get is, okay, so when her back hurts, why is it that you're making her back hurt? What is it that you want her to know? And because it's not necessarily that once the pain goes away, it's gone forever. Like my back will still twinge and hurt. But my guides have told me, and I've had this happen in sessions where they'll tell you it's because you're thinking. One of my clients has MS, and when she gets a certain pain, it's their way of nudging her and saying, you just went into fear. Get out of fear. What were you just thinking about? And so now she knows. So
Wow.
she doesn't sit in pain for as long. And she has a tool of, oh, they're telling me this, move. And she has a set of things that she needs to do on a weekly basis in
Wow.
order to not be in pain. And when she's in pain, it's her reminder, go back to your list. And like to me, until we're in that new world,
While we're working on it.
hopeful.
Those are the tangible aspects of this work. That's what we're talking about. So
Yeah.
it's so important and it's fascinating. And we can all learn from one another. Look at what you are learning from other people's sessions.
Yeah. We could do 3 more of these podcasts on stuff that I've heard from
Can't
people.
wait. We're going to. We close out today. What are some signs for people that they can look at their own lives that might help them see these connections to past lives?
So think about weird, random aches and pains, right? Not, I work with athletes where they're like, this thing hurts from overuse of this, right? So even when it makes sense, it's coming up for a reason. So if there's things like colitis and IBS, like the stomach ache stuff or anxiety, things that you can't necessarily fix, but you can more put a band-aid on, those are things that are usually something that we can get to in a past life quantum healing of like, how do I handle anxiety different when it shows up? I'm not saying it's going to go away forever, but they will give you specific ways on how to deal with it in addition to whether you're on pharmaceutical meds or you're working with a therapist or whatever. I'm not saying it's in lieu of, it's in addition to.
Yeah.
And things like I hear this song and or I smell a smell, or when your senses get involved, I should say. So there's a country that's always called you, or like when I lived in Asia, I was like, I have no connection to this place. Take me to Europe. I feel nothing when I'm in Asia, but when I'm in Europe, I'm like, I can feel what the air feels like here in the winter.
Totally.
So things about your senses, if that makes sense. If you see something, smell something, taste like a foreign flavor, and you're like, what is that? Why am I so obsessed with that?
As you say, it's an obsession sometimes with an aspect of history, and you don't know why
Yes.
you have it.
Yes, totally. Like you'll be watching a movie and think, my ex-husband, who was so not into this stuff, he was like, I can feel what it feels like to lay on the ground as a warrior and like sleep on the ground as a warrior. And I was like, are you going to honestly tell me that you don't believe in all this? And so things like that, like you're watching a movie, you can relate to it. You taste a flavor from an Indian restaurant and there's something about it. Stuff like that is a great way to know. And then meeting someone, like as you said in the beginning, like you meet someone and you're like, there's something so weird about that. Either they trigger the crap out of you or they feel like you've known them forever and you just met them. You've most likely had experiences with them in other lifetimes, future lifetimes, because it's all happening at the same time.
That's right. And I like to always say those are like unlockings to me.
I love that. Yep.
It feels like that. And you can remember them.
Yeah. And usually there's a key there. So yes, there's the unlocking. And then if you dig in a little bit, there's something special to be unlocked because otherwise they're not just coming into your life. These things aren't just coming up for the fun of it. They're coming up for you to get to the next piece about it.
Meeting you, I can remember that. And I can remember it happened on multiple fronts. Like multiple people kept saying Lizzi Cutler. And I was like, I got to talk to Lizzi Cutler. You know what I like? And then when we meet, you're like, oh, yeah, I know you. I know
Right.
you. It's that kind of thing.
Yep. So really what's happening is you're matching with that vibration. So if you get chills up your spine or that weird feeling in your stomach, the butterfly feeling, or that like thing in your chest where your heart starts beating a little bit faster, or something is like chills on your arms, it's telling you, they're telling you, your guides, your higher self is saying, please pay attention.
There's a reason you're listening or watching this right now. It's somehow your soul, your guides have led you to pay attention. Maybe this is an experience that you should really look into.
Yeah.
You can either reach out to Lizzi, visit LizziCutler.com. That's LIZZICUTLER.com. Watch those clips on Instagram. That's at Lizzi Cutler on Instagram. Check it out. You can listen to her on other podcasts of Seeking Center. She's all over the place. So,
All over the place, guys. I also just want to offer for Seeking Center listeners, I created a coupon code for you guys to use the code SEEKING, and it'll give you 20% off any session that you book, whether it's a group energy alignment or a one-on-one alignment or a past life quantum healing. It'll give you 20% off.
that's awesome. Take advantage of that because this is profound.
I just want you guys to hear and know if you feel like there's like an itch or an inkling happening, I'm here to help. If you want help, I'm not here to do it for you, but I'm here to show you.
Highly recommend and can't wait to hear more stories and more lessons and wisdom and all the things. So thank you, Lizzi.
Thank you for having me, Robin.